The sales of tractors reached in 2014 the share of 2,130,000 units, with a decrease of only 3% compared to 2013, a record year for the world market with 2,200,000 units. The forecast for 2015 still expects high sales volumes for the Asian giants, with a decline for the European market. Italian market registrations still declining.
Tractors world market closes 2014 with a slight decrease over the previous year, with a total of 2,130,000 units sold compared to 2,200,000 in 2013, which represented the best historical result for the sector. Despite a decline of 3%, all the sales levels remain very high, confirming how the development of agriculture, especially in the emerging economies, results in the increase of the demand for mechanization. The data collected and published by AgRevolution, the association of which Federunacom is one of the founding members that brings together the major producing countries, do not cover the totality of tractors sold worldwide, but represent a reliable indicator of market trends. For 2015, AgRevolution expects an even increasingly sales volume for India and also for China, despite a possible decrease compared to the levels of 2014, while a slight decline might be possible in the US, Brazil and Europe. The Italian agricultural machinery market came to a close last year with declines which were even more substantial than those predicted at the beginning of October. Tractor registrations fell 4.4% under 2013, with 18,178 units registered. Combined harvesters tumbled 26.6% to 325 units. Transporters were down 3.9% to 908 units, and trailers were off by 2.5% to 9,460 units.
The bodywork of what are called narrow track tractors cannot take on the anti-pollution devices prescribed by EU Phase 4 engine norms. Italian manufacturers have reiterated their request for an extension of the deadline for the introduction of these regulations and are drawing attention to the general organization of these norms, which call for planning changes every 3 years.
The prospect of equipping T2 tractors for vineyard and orchard operations with the devices required for Phase 4 has become more than ever controversial following the release last December the 18th of a technical study by the British firm Transport Research Laboratory, TRL, commissioned by the European Commission's Directorate General for Enterprise and Industry. In substance, the report came out in favor of substantial compatibility of future Phase 4 tractors and requirements for operating in vineyards and fruit orchards, though recognizing a degree of penalization of the performance of these tractors to create the premise for the Commission to reject the request of manufacturers to extend the terms for the application of the norm. The judgment of Italian tractor manufacturers represented by Assotrattori, an association in the Italian Federation of Agricultural Machinery Manufacturers, Federunacoma, is that the TRL report contains error of method and incorrect assessments as regards merit and carries the risk of putting the European Commission on the wrong track. The TRL technical findings are based on a type of non-agricultural engine, which can therefore not be compared to the characteristics of engines for tractors. Furthermore, the Assotrattori manufacturers are convinced that TRL expectations that the engine industry can create new engines ad hoc for narrow track tractors is not realistic in light of the small number of narrow track tractors brought to the market, some 20,000 units annually compared to millions in the automotive sector. And finally, the document suggests that an increase in the profile of a machine as a consequence of compliance with Phase 4 can be partially offset by changing present farming methods of crop layout. These modifications would damage farming enterprises and run counter to the European Union policy guideline set in recent years with incentives for shrinking planting layouts for specialized crops and driving manufacturers to turn out more compact and agile machinery.
The Federation of Agricultural Machinery Manufacturers, which will be present at Expo 2015 as a part of an initiative hosted in the Italia Pavilion, has recently joined the Biodiversity Park project set up by the Bologna Fiere Trade Fair Agency in the framework of the Milan Universal Exposition.
Federunacoma, the Italian Federation of Agricultural Machinery Manufacturers, officially participates in the Park of Biodiversity project that Bologna Fiere is going to realize in Milan as part of Expo 2015. Biodiversity is a great value, stated the president of Federunacoma, Massimo Goldoni, and at the same time a big challenge for agricultural mechanization, which for many years worked for the development of eco-friendly technologies more respectful of territories and biosystems. Today, added Goldoni, the mechanical industry with its products, prototypes and experimental projects can be received with respect and harmony within a project, such as the one on biodiversity, promoted by Bologna Fiere. Besides, thinking about land management, food and agricultural chains without the contribution of mechanization would be impossible, and for this reason the sector of the Italian mechanical industry, one of the most important and appreciated worldwide, attends Expo 2015 with a particular visibility. Besides the participation in the Park of Biodiversity project, Federunacoma will in fact attend the event in two contexts of considerable interest: the official exhibition on food and taste experienced by Confindustria in the Italia Pavilion and the exposition entitled Cibus e Italia, promoted by Federalimentare, which will consist of a fascinating edutainment journey in the world of the most loved and typical Italian food products to learn both the history and secrets of their quality.
The exhibition of mechanization and technologies for the Mediterranean agriculture will host operators and official delegations from over 20 countries and will be held in Bari from October the 15th to the 18th, 2015.
The 2015 edition of AgriLevante, the exhibition of machinery, plants and technologies for the agricultural supply chain, will be held at the Trade Fair Center in Bari from October the 15th to the 18th, consolidates its international character and the leadership in the Mediterranean area. After the 2013 edition, with 280 exhibitors on a surface of 50,000 square meters, including pavilions and open-air areas, and with the presence of almost 50,000 visitors, this year's edition promises even better results. The manufacturers of agricultural machinery and technologies for the agricultural supply chains are already booking exhibiting areas for an event that, organized by Federunacoma in cooperation with the Trade Fair Institution of Bari, involves local institutions, professional organizations in the field of agriculture, universities and training centers such as the Mediterranean Agronomic Institute, and will host delegations of foreign professionals. From the countries of Mediterranean Europe to those of Northern Africa, from Balkans to the Middle East and Sub-Saharan Africa, over 20 official delegations will attend the event, in the framework of the internationalization program developed by the Trade Fair in cooperation with the ICE agency and the Mediterranean Agronomic Institute.